Once upon a time, in a town not so far away, lived a remarkable young girl named Susie. Susie was known for many things, but mostly she was known for her nose. Not just any nose, mind you, but a nose that seemed to be in a perpetual state of sniffle. Susie always had a cold. It wasn't her fault, of course, but it meant her pockets were always stuffed with tissues. Sometimes she even had a little drip, a tiny, glistening reminder of her constant congestion. Susie's sniffles were legendary. She sneezed in class, she sniffled during playtime, and sometimes a rogue bubble would even escape during quiet reading time. It was a full-time job just keeping her nose in check. Her classmates, bless their cotton socks, weren't always the most understanding. They'd point and whisper, giggling behind their hands. Susie tried her best to ignore them, but it wasn't easy. Among her classmates, there was a particularly bothersome bunch. They called themselves the Perfectly Pristine Posse, and they thought they were just the bee's knees. Their leader, a boy named Bartholomew, had a laugh that sounded like a rusty gate. Bartholomew and his cronies loved to tease Susie. They'd chant, "Snot-nosed Susie, always gooey," or pretend to hold their noses when she walked by. It was terribly rude, and Susie's little heart would sink. One blustery afternoon, the teasing reached an all-time high. Bartholomew cornered Susie by the swings, his posse snickering behind him. "Look, it's snot-nosed Susie," he bellowed, pointing a grubby finger. Susie had had enough. Her nose, as if sensing her fury, began to tingle. A mighty sneeze was brewing, a sneeze of epic proportions. She took a deep breath, aimed, and let it rip. A magnificent, green-tinged cloud erupted from Susie's nose, propelled by the force of 1,000 tiny sneezes. It sailed through the air, a shimmering, snotty missile, landing squarely on Bartholomew and his posse. They were covered, head to toe, in a fine, sticky mist. The perfectly pristine posse stood frozen, their faces a mixture of shock and disgust. Bartholomew let out a squeal that was anything but pristine. They scrambled away, wiping frantically, never once looking back. From that day on, Bartholomew and his crew never bothered Susie again. They gave her a wide berth, probably still traumatized by the snot-tastic encounter. Susie, however, realized something important. While the snot had been effective, she was tired of being constantly sniffly. She decided it was time to take charge of her own health. No more endless colds, no more runny nose woes. Susie began her quest for wellness. She talked to her wise old grandmother, who knew a thing or two about natural remedies. Grandma explained that sometimes the best medicine comes straight from the earth. They started with warm honey and lemon in hot water, a soothing concoction for her scratchy throat. Then came the elderberry syrup, a sweet, dark liquid known for its immune-boosting powers. Susie learned that nature had its own pharmacy. Next, they explored the wonders of ginger and turmeric. Grandma brewed spicy ginger tea, which made Susie's nose tingle in a good way, clearing her sinuses. Turmeric, a golden spice, was used to make a warm tea, a comforting drink before bed. Susie also discovered the power of steam. A bowl of hot water with a few drops of eucalyptus oil became her nightly ritual. She'd breathe in the fragrant vapor, feeling her airways open up. It was like magic, but better because it was natural. Slowly but surely, Susie's constant cold began to fade. Her sniffles became less frequent, her sneezes less dramatic. She still carried tissues, just in case, a reminder of her past. Her energy levels soared, and she could finally enjoy playtime without a runny nose getting in the way. Susie felt stronger, healthier, and incredibly proud of her newfound knowledge. She had taken control of her own well being. Susie's story teaches us a few important things. First, sometimes a little unexpected defense can go a long way in dealing with bullies. They often back down when faced with something they don't expect. Second, and perhaps more importantly, it reminds us that our bodies are amazing. And sometimes, simple, natural remedies can be incredibly powerful. Listening to our bodies and exploring gentle solutions can make a world of difference. So, if you ever feel a sniffle coming on, remember Snot-Nose Suzie. Maybe a little honey, a warm cup of tea, or even a good, strong sneeze can be just what you need. And always remember to stand up for yourself, even if it means getting a little snotty. Have you already subscribed? Well, what are waiting for? Let's dive into more amazing stories.